Right now at 5, local organizations react to the passing of former President Jimmy Carter.
And they've got a pretty chilly start to the day. Temperatures not moving too much. We'll talk about that forecast, get you out the door, coming up.
Plus, police seek information on a vehicle regarding last week's dumpster overfill in Afton, Oklahoma.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now New Year's Eve.
Yes, it is. Last day of 2024.
Yeah, I will be sleeping through the start of the new year. I'm sure you will as well. But those of you celebrating it, please do so responsibly.
Yes.
And also bundle up because it's going to get cold tonight, man.
It really is.
I mean,
yeah.
I've been worried throughout December. You know, we were so mild for so long.
For so long,
I'm like,
yes.
something's up. And unfortunately, something is up.
Here we go.
It's not the temperatures. They're going to be down considerably. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But first, we got to get you out the door, get your day started. And we're going to do so by taking a quick look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. You can actually see city lights on the clouds off in the distance there. So we do have a cloudy start to the day, and it's going to take a minute, but these clouds will eventually go away, and then we'll have some sunshine. Unfortunately, though, the sunshine is going to have zero impact on our temperatures today. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also looking good but cloudy this morning. I forgot to take the fog tracker out, but I'll do that in a moment. But as you can see, we really don't have any significant fog to worry about this morning like we did yesterday. But if that changes, we'll put it back in. Okay, on to the future track. By noon, from west to east, clouds will begin to clear. However, this is what I was talking about. Usually, especially out west, you guys get some sunshine long before your neighbors do. You get a little warmer. That's not going to happen today. These temperatures are not going to move at all. They're going to barely get into the low 40s across the area. Once we get into the evening and overnight hours, we'll have just a few lingering clouds and temperatures will begin to drop tonight. We're also going to be breezy again today. Like it wasn't windy enough yesterday, it's going to try again. 42 in Joplin right now, 41 in Pittsburgh. And again, these temperatures that you're seeing right now, there will not be much significant change throughout the day. We have some upper 30s, most of us in the low to mid 40s. We got to contend with that gusty northwest wind once again, which is putting our wind chills into the low to mid 30s for most of us, with the cold spot up there at Iola sitting at 29 with that wind chill this morning. Northwest winds again continuing to gust 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour. Clouds will gradually decrease, and as you can see, temperatures, they just don't go anywhere. They're just kind of flat in the low 40s. They'll start dropping though as we lose the clouds. It'll start to get cold. We'll eventually fall back into the 20s tonight. And the 20s are going to feel warm by comparison compared to what is about to happen to the 4 states in about a week or so. We're going to go over those details with you because we got rain chances, we got winter weather chances, and we have a polar vortex, and it's a lot getting ready to go down, and it's going to get pretty unpleasant. Details here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. And although President Jimmy Carter may no longer be with us, his legacy continues to live on. The 39th president dedicated much of his life to advocating for affordable housing, providing quality homes for those in need. Now, through the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Work Project, he helped build and renovate over 4,000 homes. We spoke with Joplin residents to hear their thoughts and reactions following the passing of this 100-year-old leader.
I'm very saddened. He was a great man. He was a visionary. He was seeing alternative energy way before anyone else was realizing it. I hated to see him go.
It kind of depressed me. He was a good man.
Some local residents said although they weren't affiliated with the same party as the president, his hard work and dedication were undeniable. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has called for flags to be flown at half-staff in honor of former President Jimmy Carter. And the governor made the announcement yesterday in accordance with Executive Order 2030 and the proclamation signed by President Joe Biden. Flags are to remain at half-staff until January 28th. Jimmy Carter was the 39th president of the United States and was awarded the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Authorities in Cherokee County responded to a rollover crash yesterday morning. The crash happened just before 10 a.m. Now on scene, responders discovered a cement mixer truck had overturned near the BNFS track outside of Columbus. Reports say the truck dropped its rear tires off the edge of the road and it pulled the whole truck down. The driver sought medical care for minor injuries. The Afton Police Department needs your help in identifying this vehicle. Authorities seek information on the vehicle in connection to a dumping incident which took place on Friday. The incident in question resulted in the removal of a dumpster from behind the Afton City Hall. Now, trash on Friday piled over the dumpster until the access piled up around the area. Trash services were unable to empty the dumpster as the area was too piled up with garbage to get near the dumpster. Authorities believe they may have a suspect who is abusing the public dumpster. They've asked the public for any information regarding the vehicle or the incident. Well, the Joplin Police Department has some sobering advice for drivers headed into the new year. New Year's Eve will mark a night of celebration for many people in Joplin. And for some people, alcohol will be involved. Captain Will Davis from the Joplin Police Department says there are plenty of options if you plan to make alcohol a part of your New Year's celebration.
Recommend a specific one, but there's plenty of ride-sharing programs, whether it be private taxi services, whatever it may be. There's so many out there and so many options. A lot of establishments will partner with those different businesses to offer those services, especially around times of the holidays. So again, it's one of those where plan ahead of time to know what's available and what options you may have if you get in a situation where you're too intoxicated to be driving.
To learn more, you can head over to our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. The Pittsburgh Police Department is also encouraging people to put safety first on New Year's Eve. They're also making efforts to keep the roads safe through a partnership with KDOT. The partnership, called Taking Down DUI, will have more officers on the roads to patrol and make sure people aren't driving while intoxicated. This initiative takes place from December 26th to January 2nd.
During this time frame, we also have officers out that are specifically focused on traffic and aren't dependent on calls, and they're not having to share traffic enforcement detail with just normal patrol duties. Like, they are specifically out there for traffic.
Now, he encourages people to plan ahead for New Year's Eve and make sure you have a ride if you plan to drink. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A Seneca High School softball player makes her college commitment. We'll have those details. Plus, a new study suggests that the world population is expected to reach over 8 billion on New Year's Day. And we have a windy and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
High school softball season in Southwest Missouri is several months from returning, but yesterday we get some recruiting news that one of the top juniors in the area is committing to a Division I school. Seneca High School junior Abby Jamrose is verbally committed to play softball at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Jamrose received second-team All-State honors as a pitcher her freshman season in 2022. Over her first 3 high school seasons playing for the Indians, she also got it done at the plate and in the field. Jamrose will play for former Missouri Southern assistant coaches Josie Topai and Cody Barham, who are on the staff at UMKC. And several of our high school basketball teams are in action at various tournaments around the area. One of those is taking place down in Washburn. It's the Southwest High School Holiday Tournament. And last night was the championship round. On the girls' side, Cassville wins 64-52 over Commerce. The Lady Wildcats are tournament champions. They are off to a 9-2 start to the season. Commerce finishes in second place. Tigers made it close down the stretch, pulling to within 8 points after trailing by 22 at halftime. The boys' championship got a little bit of a late start. The East Newton Patriots are tournament champions with a final score of 53-41. Yesterday afternoon was the final game of the 2024 college football season for the Missouri Tigers. A win would give Mizzou back-to-back seasons with double-digit wins, something it hasn't accomplished in a decade. Music City Bowl in Nashville, Mizzou takes on Iowa. Tied at 7 late in the first quarter, Caden Wiegen fields the kickoff from a yard deep in his own end zone. He gets a block, finds a seam, and takes it all the way, 101 yards to the house. Hawkeyes up by 7. Third quarter now, Tigers trail by 10. Brady Cook off a play action fake. He's going to unleash it deep down the middle. And Marquis Johnson makes an incredible catch. That drive ends in a touchdown. We go to the fourth quarter, tied at 24. Elijah Drinkwitz sends out his kicker for a 56-yard field goal try. He's already made a 51-yarder, and this one is right down the middle. Mizzou leads by 3 late in the fourth. On the ensuing drive, final minute of the game, Iowa faces a 4th and 1 and tries for a quarterback sneak. That gets stuffed by the Missouri defense. The Tigers are 2024 Music City Bowl champions. They win at 27-24 and have back-to-back seasons with double-digit wins. Closing out things in the NFL, not much of a surprise here. The Lions improved 14-2 on the season with a 40-34 victory over the 49ers on the road. If Detroit beats Minnesota this Sunday, it will have the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. Still to come, a new study shows that cold weather deaths are rising among Americans. Plus, speaking of cold weather, dangerously cold weather on the way for us. We'll take a full look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this Tuesday morning, and we've got a lot to go over. First, we got to get you through the next few days. Then we got to talk about next week, okay? So today, clouds gradually clearing from west to east. Still breezy out there as well. Those gusty northwest winds. Temperatures not moving much. That's going to keep our wind chills in the 30s most of today. But we will eventually see some sunlight, but it will not have an impact on our temperatures. We'll have a few clouds overnight tonight. Temperatures, of course, without the clouds is that blanket to keep the warmer air in. They drop. We are going to be kicking off 2025 in a very cold style with a number of temperatures at 25. But otherwise, it's just the mid-upper 20s for most of us as we start the new year. It's going to be a pretty chilly day. Tomorrow, the winds breezy initially, but as we head into the afternoon, they will calm down, which is good because temperatures are going to take a little bit to warm up, and they're not going to warm up much more than what we're seeing today. Upper 30s for most of us by noon. Highs once again low 40s. We'll have a few clouds here and there. Then we get into Thursday. We have some shower chances out there. However, the future track does believe that depending on the timing of these showers, they could fall as wintry precipitation. Now, at this point, we're expecting rain. You can see we're at 33, so we're very close to that threshold at 8 o'clock Thursday morning. And you can see Pittsburgh, it shows rain. We're thinking rain at this point, but if these temperatures, this is what we talk about with wintertime, that freezing line, if it moves a mile one way or the other, it will change what the expectation is. So precipitation is expected, isolated at least, by Thursday. As for how it falls, it will all be a matter of where these temperatures are once this wave rolls through. If it's a little warmer, because you see by the afternoon, we're already back up in the low 40s, even some mid 40s. If the rain arrives a little later, if this wave arrives a little later, it'll be rain. If it arrives a little earlier, it could potentially be some light snow. But nothing significant either way is expected. But if it does fall as wintry precipitation, could lead to a few slick spots. And then we'll have skies clear, and we'll actually be pretty decent Thursday. So anything that might fall as snow won't stick around very long as we head into Thursday afternoon. Now let's talk temperatures right now, and then we're going to skip ahead to next week and talk about temperatures and what they're looking like then. We are cloudy. 42 in Joplin. Northwest breeze gusting to 31 makes it feel like 33. Temperatures across the region. Again, the air temperature isn't so bad. It could be worse. It's about to be worse, but it's upper 30s. Most of us low to mid 40s, but then we got that gusty north winds that's keeping our wind chills into the 30s. Say Viola, who's still sitting at 29 for a wind chill right now. So through the morning hours, cloudy skies. Again, from west to east, they'll start to clear. Temperatures do not really budge fudge throughout the day. We're going to be hanging out in the low 40s for most of the day. And again, those gusty northwest winds pushing 35, 40 miles an hour again. As we head into the evening, the winds through the evening and overnight ease up where they're only gusting to 20. But it's still not going to help because at 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts with 20-degree temperatures, it's going to feel much colder out there. Wind chills back in the low 20s, maybe in some upper teens, just a few clouds tonight. Now let's talk about, we're going to skip way ahead. This is this Sunday at 6. We have precipitation chances. We're looking to start as rain on Sunday, and then as temperatures fall, they'll transition to some freezing rain, and then by the evening we start transitioning to snow as the rainfall, the temperatures rather, continue to drop. Now, what exactly transpires and how much we get, still a lot of questions. It's winter weather, and as we just discussed, that freezing line makes all the difference. But we are looking at least at some wintry weather as we head into Sunday and very early Monday morning. After that, I want you to pay attention to these temperatures as we head down the week. Here's Tuesday at 5 a.m. We're talking teens to start the day. Here's Tuesday afternoon, 18 by 5 o'clock, okay? Then we go into Wednesday morning, 7 degrees, minus 12 Kansas City. We head into Wednesday evening, we're in the low 20s, all right. Then we go into Thursday, and we are right back to cold temperatures once again. So we've got to be cautious. We got to pay close attention. Now is the time to make sure your house and your car are ready for the extreme cold. Between here and there, 40s. It start getting cold by Friday, upper 30s, low 40s. Here's Sunday, and then as we head into next week, that's when that Arctic air starts to arrive. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, alarming new numbers from the American Medical Association show a dramatic rise in deaths from freezing temperatures over the past quarter century. The latest research showing that an uptick in cold snaps as well as other possible factors have been linked to a doubling of U.S. deaths since 1999. Now, in their study, researchers tracked U.S. death certificates for the more than 63 million Americans who died since then. Now, in total, exposure to cold weather was listed as a direct or contributing factor in 0.06% of cases over that time span. Now, the findings call for more public health interventions to improve access to warming centers and indoor heating for vulnerable populations. Now, there's still no evidence of bird flu passing from person to person, but health experts warn that mutations of the virus could make it more likely to spread between humans. Meanwhile, the CDC is pushing back against claims that the U.S. isn't testing enough to get a handle on the virus. Mandy Gaither has the latest on the virus and why some health officials are sounding the alarm.
The CDC says genetic sampling from a patient in Louisiana recently hospitalized with the U.S.'s first severe case of H5N1 showed the virus likely mutated in the person, potentially allowing for it to be more easily spread to humans. But there's no evidence the virus has passed to anyone else.
It's only a matter of time before one mutation by chance will be able to be spread from human to human. We don't know when that will be, but certainly the train has already left the station.
The CDC has emphasized the risk to the general public has not changed and remains low, but some health experts say not enough is being done.
I flash back to January of 2020, and I'm hearing the same words come out of the CDC.
Like what?
Low risk of human-to-human transmission.
Now,
our agencies are making the same mistakes they made with COVID.
The CDC is pushing back against claims the U.S. isn't testing for the bird flu virus enough, saying comments about avian flu testing are out of date, misleading, and inaccurate. For now, health experts say people should be aware
that if they've handled dead birds or sick animals, especially cats, for example, they've ingested raw milk, and they have flu-like symptoms, headache, sore throat, shortness of breath, cough, that they let their providers know, because time is money. They can get antivirals like Tamiflu that can really make the difference between getting really sick and not getting sick that much.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC says it's testing asymptomatic people with high-risk exposure to avian flu. Has a seasonal flu vaccination campaign underway for farm workers and told hospitals to subtype flu viruses even after the end of flu season as part of a national monitoring effort. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And it is chilly, cloudy, and breezy to start our day. We'll have another look at your Tuesday forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, Fort Scott Synthetic Ice Rink adds a few more dates to its schedule.
And it's going to be feeling pretty icy by next week. Today, though, it's going to be windy. It's going to be a bit cloudy. It's going to be a bit chilly. Details coming up.
Plus, as we approach the new year, we take a look back at the year's top health stories.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. This is the second time in the last 3 minutes. I forgot what day of the week it was. It's Tuesday, though. It's December 31st.
All the days have blended together in the past week and a half.
Well, and you know, with the pandemic and everything, the last several years have just kind of blended together.
Sure.
And usually somebody will say something.
Yes.
They'll be like, it's not this time. It wasn't this, it was that. Nobody, until I sat down yesterday at home and actually thought about it, realized the Arctic blast we had wasn't in 2020. It was 2021.
It's like the same year.
Honestly, at that particular time, it was practically the same year. But it was 2021. But we've got another one of those, unfortunately, on the way. But first, many of you probably have to go to work or wherever it is you're headed. We got to get your day started right. And we're going to start by looking outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. See, there it is. We have looked outside. And if you look off in the horizon, that little white line out there, that's some city lights reflecting up onto the clouds because, well, it's cloudy this morning. Our camera 7th and range line, you can almost see the clouds. We have some pretty low ones. We don't have any fog to contend with, but we do have some low ceilings out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line, also looking pretty good. And I say ceiling because you ever watch Local on the 8s in the Weather Channel, the old scroll at the bottom would say ceiling, 10,000 feet. And I had no idea what that meant for the longest time as a kid. I was like, what is the ceiling? And I got educated and found out. It's cloud height. All right, here we go. Into the afternoon, clouds begin to clear from west to east. So we'll get some sunshine a little earlier in some of our western counties than your friends to the east. However, it's not going to have any impact on your temperatures. You're going to be just as cold as the rest of us. We're going to hang out really in the low 40s through most of today, and we'll have just a few clouds as we end the evening and overnight hours. Winds will still be breezy, and it's going to feel even colder than that overnight tonight. So if you're celebrating, bundle up. Celebrate responsibly, but bundle up. 42 in Joplin, 41 in Pittsburgh. And again, these temperatures will not change much over the next several hours. We got upper 30s for some of us, and the majority of us, though, still hanging out in the low 40s across the area. But we have that gusty northwest wind, and that's putting our wind chills into the 30s for everybody at this point. So it does feel pretty darn cold, and it will stay that way because it will be breezy throughout the entire day. Highs today again. Low 40s. They will not move. Clouds will gradually clear. Northwest winds once again gusting 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour in some cases. Once the clouds begin to clear, of course, we lose that nice blanket. Not like there's a lot of warm air to keep in anyway. And we'll eventually fall back into the 20s tonight. So be prepared for that again if you are celebrating the new year. We have that Arctic blast on the way. Arctic air, that also means some possible wintry precipitation. Details on all of that coming up here in just a few more minutes. Lisa?
All right, Chris, thanks. We'll see you soon. Well, avid readers and adventurers have a cool hangout to gather at this Friday. The Nevada Public Library is hosting a cozy camp-in. The event takes place from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and will feature reading forts in the stacks, quiet reading time by flashlight, games, snacks, and more. Well, the winter holiday season is almost over, but the Glide in Fort Scott is adding a few more dates to their schedule. The Glide is Fort Scott Synthetic Ice Skating Rink, and the extra hours are today from 4 to 9 p.m. and Wednesday from noon to 4 p.m. Now, all skaters are welcome, and entry will only cost $5. Your last opportunity to skate the Glide this season will be this weekend. Lagging vaccination rates lead to a record cases and deaths for several viruses and the extra benefits from weight loss drugs. Michael George looks back at this year's top health stories.
Studies showed weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy have wide-ranging benefits, from Alzheimer's disease to kidney function to addiction. They're so popular, copycat versions popped up.
They have not been safety tested. We don't know if they're as effective as the prescription drug.
The CDC says 2024 had 4 times the number of measles and whooping cough cases than the previous year. Pediatric deaths due to influenza hit a record high, due in part to lower vaccination rates. The American Red Cross declared an emergency blood shortage, with donors at a 20-year low.
People need to realize it's not that hard, it's not that much time.
Dozens of cases of H5N1 bird flu have been confirmed in people. Most infections are traced back to contact with farm or wild animals. Mosquito-borne illnesses caused some panic this summer. Several Massachusetts towns issued voluntary lockdowns in the evening to prevent infection of Triple E.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
A CBS News analysis found foodborne illnesses have increased 42% since 2013. They caused several high-profile recalls, including for E. coli at some McDonald's and for deadly listeria in Boar's Head deli meat.
They're happening more frequently.
The American Cancer Society found colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer death in men under 50, and the second leading cause of cancer death for women of the same age. A separate ACS report shows Generation X and millennials have a higher risk of developing 17 cancers compared to older generations.
It's likely an environmental aspect, whether that's diet, lack of exercise, some other exposure.
The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force now recommends women start receiving mammograms at age 40 instead of 50 and get screened every other year up to age 74. Research from the Annals of Internal Medicine shows alcohol use spiked during the COVID-19 pandemic and stayed high through at least 2022.
People don't know where to get help. They don't know that they need help.
The CDC says opioid overdose deaths slowed to the lowest level since 2020, after peaking in 2023.
I'm blessed to have received this gift, a second chance at life.
And Tawana Looney became the 5th American to receive a gene-edited pig organ. Researchers say this experimental procedure could be a game changer someday for the thousands on transplant waiting lists. Michael George, CBS News.
Hurricane Helene also wreaked havoc in the medical world in 2024, closing a North Carolina manufacturer that left hospitals low on IV fluids. You can join us tonight on KOAM News at 10 when we bring you the notable obituaries from the past year. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. More Tel Aviv air raid sirens sounded to warn residents of a possible Yemen missile launch. Plus, investigators are still sorting through the deadliest air accident ever on South Korean soil. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, a big jump in the world population this year, according to U.S. Census Bureau estimates released Monday. The world population increased by more than 71 million people this year and will be 8.09 billion on New Year's Day. The number is less than 2023, when the world population grew by 75 million people. In January 2025, 4.2 births and 2.0 deaths are expected across the world every second. Well, Tel Aviv residents were running for shelter Monday as air raid sirens sounded in the Israeli city after reports of a missile launch from Yemen. Now, in a statement, the Israeli military wrote, quote, "A missile launched from Yemen was intercepted by the Israeli Air Force prior to crossing into Israeli territory." The sirens were sounded due to the possibility of falling shrapnel from the interception. Now, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have gone after Israel since it started attacking Gaza following the October 7th, 2023 attacks by Gaza's Hamas militants. The Houthis have attacked ships in the Red Sea, disrupting one of the world's main maritime routes, and it has recently stepped up missile and drone attacks on Israel. Well, South Korean officials say they will conduct safety inspections on all Boeing 737-800 aircrafts in the country's fleet as they try to find the cause of the plane crash, which killed 179 people on Sunday. Now, this comes as the South Korean government grapples with a major political crisis. Greg Pelkett has the story.
Investigators sorting through the deadliest air accident ever on South Korean soil. South Korea's airline Jeju Air's Boeing plane on its way from Bangkok made a crash landing at an airport in the southwestern part of the country. Its landing gear, engines, and other systems not working properly. The plane left the runway, crashing into a concrete barrier, exploding and breaking up.
The idea that the crew had to land and they were in essence powerless to stop the progress of that aircraft, and it hit that wall as it did, led to all of this incredible tragedy.
Only 2 flight crew members survived, 179 people killed, including all the passengers. The distraught families learned it could be days before the victims are identified and their remains returned.
I couldn't believe it.
This is a tragedy that shouldn't have happened.
South Korean officials say the airport warned the approaching plane of a possible bird strike. The plane's pilot then issued a mayday call and confirmed it was hit by birds. Experts say that shouldn't alone have caused the catastrophe.
We will take full responsibility and accept any necessary measures.
The plane's data black boxes were recovered. NTSB inspectors are going to assist in South Korea's probe. Boeing is also helping. The company has been plagued by safety and other issues in recent years, but the 737-800 model is considered safe and widely used. Still, Seoul says it will be looking at that aircraft type and all the country's aviation operations.
I offer my deepest condolences to those who tragically lost their lives.
This is South Korea is going through a political upheaval. The president and acting president have been impeached in recent weeks. There are concerns the government can't handle this national disaster. National, human, and possibly financial disasters. Boeing stock down around 2% today.
And that's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:45 now on this Tuesday morning. We've got a lot to go over. We're going to start with the future track for today. By this afternoon, clouds begin to clear from west to east, and so we'll start to see some sunshine. Unfortunately, unlike we usually would see, sunshine's not going to have any impact on our temperatures. On top of that, it's still going to be breezy today, so it's still going to feel colder than where we'll be. And our temperatures really, for most of the day, are just going to be kind of hovering in the low 40s. Now, without any cloud cover tonight, I mean, there'll be a few clouds, but without that blanket of cloud cover, temperatures drop. So if you're celebrating for New Year's tonight, which I'm sure you're doing so responsibly, also take a heavy coat or something to stay warm with, because they're going to fall back into the 20s overnight tonight. Winds will still be gusty through the late evening and early overnight hours, so that puts our wind chills falling back in low 20s, maybe even some upper teens out there. As we head into Wednesday afternoon, we'll have a few clouds here and there. We'll warm up slowly. It'll be very similar to today in terms of temperatures, but the winds will be calm as we head into the afternoon. Start to see a few additional clouds by late Wednesday, eventually going cloudy Wednesday night into Thursday. Now, Thursday is an interesting scenario, but it's a great explanation of winter weather and the chaos that comes with forecasting wintry precipitation. We have shower chances Thursday. However, the future track does believe that we might get some snow in some cases. This is where that whole freezing line shift comes in. See how we go from 31 in Fort Scott, 33 in Pittsburgh. If this freezing line lifts a little further north earlier in the morning, then this will all be rain. If it falls a little further south, then it will be snow. So we'll have to watch the temperatures very closely, but we are looking at some kind of precipitation Thursday morning. Now here's the thing, whatever we see, whether it's rain or snow, we're not expecting that much of, but if it does fall as snow, that could lead to some at least temporary slick spots, because by Thursday afternoon, we start clearing out. In fact, our southern counties get pretty darn close to the 50s in some cases, and where we might see snow or rain, we're going to be warming in the low to mid 40s, so anything that does fall will not last very long, and then we'll have another chilly overnight. Temperatures will start to drop again back into the 20s and 30s by Friday morning. Let's talk temperatures right now. We're just going to talk temperatures around the region. We're holding on upper 30s and low 40s across the area, but we have those gusty northwest winds still gusting 35, 40 miles an hour. That's putting wind chills for all of us right now, save Monette at this point, into the 30s. Monette, it feels like 29. Everybody else, it does feel like the 30s. And those gusty winds will continue, making it feel cold throughout the rest of this day. Cloudy skies through the morning, and we'll have the temperatures again just kind of hovering out there. Gradual clearing as we head into the afternoon, low 40s for the highs, those gusty northwest winds. Winds will still be gusty overnight, but they'll ease up a bit, gusting to 20, and we'll fall back into the 20s with those mostly clear skies tonight. And then we head into Sunday. Sunday, we're looking at rain that will then transition potentially to freezing rain and eventually over to snow. And you can see we've got a pretty big system out here on Sunday. That's still a little too early for accumulation details, but this could be our first actual meaningful winter event of the season. Now this will continue to play out and we'll be left with some lingering snow early Monday morning before that begins to clear on out. Then what I want to show you at least quickly is the temperature drops. As that polar vortex settles in, take a look Tuesday morning starting in the upper teens. Then we fall back even, and by Tuesday we're still only in the upper teens. That polar vortex drops our temperatures Wednesday morning starting in the single digits. At Kansas City, 12 below to start the day. So we have very cold, dangerously cold Arctic air on the way as we head into next week. So you need to be prepared. I did some work yesterday on my house, just making sure it was as airtight as it could be. We'll watch what happens on Thursday with these shower chances. We'll stay chilly, and then we get into Sunday, and that kind of kicks off that drop in temperatures for that polar vortex, and we could see additional wintry weather by next Thursday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, a dream literally took flight for one teen battling terminal cancer in Kelowna, Illinois this week. Now, the once-in-a-lifetime experience became a reality thanks to the generosity of his community. Wafa Azad has more.
If I can put a smile on that young man's face for 5 minutes, then it's all worthwhile. And that's the experience that I'm looking for. He's got quite the fight going on.
Zach has been fighting osteosarcoma and aggressive bone cancer. Now in hospice care, he's focusing on making memories, and thanks to Midforce, he checked a big one off his bucket list.
I got a ride in the Midforce helicopter. It was super cool. I did ride in another helicopter just the other day, but this one is so much cooler. It's bigger. It was really fun to go in and look at all the electronics inside because they have like 3 screens and like 100 buttons. It was crazy.
The Midforce crew volunteered to give Zach the ride of his life, saying it was an honor to create such a special moment.
This is what makes a difference in people's lives. And as I said, we're very blessed. The community treats us very well. And anytime we get a chance to give back, we do. And this is the type of stuff that our flight crews just absolutely love to do because they have a personal attachment to that.
Zach says the community support was overwhelming after his mom shared a Facebook post looking for ways to brighten his days. The community stepped in to offer him experiences he'll never forget.
People have been reaching out and they've been letting me ride in their nice cars. I've been riding in some Corvettes. I rode in a Porsche 911, which is my favorite car. And then I've ridden in some really cool cars, and I was able to like sit in a Ferrari the other day. And so it's been really cool.
Well, Zach also got to ride in a Bentley along with a police escort to get pizza for lunch. Now he's excited for a trip to Atlanta early next year to attend a car show. Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, some friendly goats in Chicago get a belated Christmas treat, and people looking for a way to discard of their Christmas trees can bring it to the Urban Growers Collective, which uses donated trees as a snack for goats. Now, the nonprofit says pine trees are a healthy snack for the animals as they're rich with vitamin A and C. Which helps keep their digestive tract in good condition. Now, as the goats eat the trees and turn it into waste, the collective will use it for compost to produce more food. Now, there could be more to celebrate New Year's Eve besides the changing of the year. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says there's a chance of solar storms, which could bring the northern lights to several U.S. states. Now, the northern portion of the country from Alaska to Maine, people there have the best chance of seeing the lights. Although parts of Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Iowa, and New York may also catch a glimpse. The active period for such solar activity is expected to last for another year. This comes just 2 months after a powerful solar storm was visible in parts of the U.S., including New York.
Certainly a sight to see, and we've had it captured with at least cameras as far south as here, and got another year of this activity, so we'll have to see if we can capture anything else. But for today, nothing to capture except cold air. We're holding into the 40s out there, cloudy skies through the morning. Clouds will gradually decrease from west to east, and we'll still have those gusty winds also out of the northwest pushing 35, maybe 40 miles an hour. Highs today, low 40s. But again, that's where a lot of us are, and these temperatures will not really move much through the day. We'll eventually have mostly clear skies overnight. That allows temperatures to fall back into the 20s. So if you're celebrating tonight, be prepared for cold temperatures and gusty winds, making it feel even colder. Still cold tomorrow, watching those precipitation chances Thursday, and that Arctic blast arrives next week, bringing us dangerously cold temperatures. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.